Okay, let's get a final word on this Manmohan Nomics versus Modi Nomics debate. Joining me now is someone who's worked closely and seen governments at the center very closely. Dr. Amit Mitra is, dare I say, the grand old or grand young man of finance ministers, former finance minister of West Bengal, still advisor to the chief minister there. Dr. Mitra, we've been comparing over the last hour the Manmohan Singh government's performance on the economy for 10 years and the Modi government's. I know your party is part of the broader India alliance now, but give me an objective perspective after hearing the report card by Nirmala Sitharaman. Would you concede that the Modi government has kept the economy in a stronger place today in 2024 than when they took it over in 2014?
I must submit that I beg to disagree. You take the fundamentals into consideration. What is the unemployment rate in India today? Now, this is the same debate as Dr. Manmohan Singh's period and Mr. Modi's period. 42 million people are officially unemployed as per government's own data. That's 9.05%. Has that been seen before? 9.05% unemployment?
No, there are various numbers on unemployment. The government cites EPFO data. They say labor participation rate is increasing. They claim the average, you compare the average during the Manmohan Singh years with the Modi years, they claim that unemployment is not as big a problem as some numbers make it out to be.
Yes, from Modi government's point of view, common people's issues are not big issues. The issues lie somewhere else. Let me also ask a second question. Youth unemployment. Okay, you differ with the overall unemployment. Another source of reliable data says that youth unemployment between the age of 20 to 24, which is the main working age, it's 44.49%, over 44% youth unemployment. Now, the budget talks about three things, which includes demography. This is demographic deficit, where you have 44% of your youth unemployed. Then also, of course, let me take you to the same issue. 135 million people were added to the labor force after 2018. How many of them got jobs? You look at Ashoka Modi, a professor at Princeton. He has used the government data and found that only 5 million of the 135 million people have got jobs. Have you seen that under Dr. Manmohan Singh's period or any other period? Today, Rajdeep ji, 450 million people, larger than the population of the United States, are not looking for jobs or are unemployed. 450 million people. Their pain doesn't matter to the Modi government because they have some other agenda. Now, let me go to agriculture. This is an amazing thing that has never happened before under any government in recent times is reverse migration. Today, 45.5%, more than 45% share of workforce is in agriculture today. Increased reverse migration. Why? Because your manufacturing job growth has only been 0.8%, not even 1%. So they don't have jobs. So they return back home, live in their own home little place that they have, looking for 100 days work. 45.5% reverse migration never happened in recent history. Then I come to inflation, which was debated between my two colleagues that I heard. Just take food inflation. Don't go to individual items. Food inflation is 10% today. Now, it is the job of the government, along with Reserve Bank of India, to control inflation.
But food inflation was double-digit when the Manmohan Singh government was in power. The point is we can all cherry-pick numbers, look at specific periods. I want you to give me, in conclusion, the big picture. The big picture seems to be that the Modi government believes that they have put the country in a position of macroeconomic stability and therefore on the path to growth despite the setbacks in the last couple of years or between 2020 and 2022 because of the COVID pandemic. Do you go along with that, or do you believe there are holes in this argument?
No, I'll give you just one hole. Capital expenditure has been tom-tomed. That huge capital expenditure, even in this budget, 11 some number.
1%, yes.
Yeah, of lakh crores, etc. Are you aware, Rajdeep ji, that capital expenditure target versus spending of this government? 22-23 last year, little more than 50%, between 50 and 60% was spent. More than 40% was not spent. These numbers don't mean anything. Government of India has an assistance program for capital investment. Do you know that only 34.7% of that was released? Only 34.7. Let me come to the other very important point. The budget talks about diversity, democracy, and demography. 3 Ds. They should have called it perhaps DQ. They don't know that. Demography, I've explained to you, is a demographic deficit, not a dividend. Democracy is moving towards electoral autocracy. And diversity, you know, I know, under serious threat. So the 3 Ds that the budget talks about, none of the 3 Ds, in fact, have any validity.
Okay, but can I ask you in conclusion, since we are talking of acronyms, the government has also given Gyan, this word that has been used constantly, Garib, youth, Annadata and Nari, and saying that's the focus, the vulnerable areas, and they're winning elections. You see, because they are winning elections, I asked this also to Dr. Tharoor, but because they are winning elections, they get a sense that, look, we are on the right track. If there was so much anger, if there was so much rural distress or unemployment, why aren't they voting the government out? A final word.
Well, I think you're right that you may not be aware that food subsidy has been cut. They don't care. Fertilizer by 13%. Most interesting, urban rejuvenation and smart city, that they talk about smart city all the time. Budget has been cut by 21.2%. And assistance to states on movement of food grains, that has been cut by 17.1%. So the key point that I'm making is, they don't care, given these kind of cuts, because they don't think they win elections by development. They win elections by majoritarian consolidation of votes.
So therefore, are you going to tell me that you give no credit at all? What is that? Is there one positive feature at the end of 10 years of the Modi Nomics report card that you would like to concede or highlight?
I think in the Modi government's effort to implement things is there, but what is interesting is they have stopped data collection. So how do I support them when I can't find the surveys that they usually used to do all throughout Indian history post-independence? So my problem is that they don't have the data because they have stopped collecting it. This is a part of the democracy undermined, in my view.
Okay.
Therefore, I would conclude that instead of comparing with X or Y, X's regime or this regime, let's look at objectively, which I've placed before you, the pain of the common people. Cut. In fact, in the last budget, if you recall, they even cut Narega, 100 days work. Now, why would they cut that? Because then they lose elections. But key point to me, it appears, is that's not what they win elections by. They have understood that formula. Formula is divisiveness, majoritarian, consolidation of the vote. That gives them much, much bigger bang than these developmental issues. That's a sad part of Indian history that we have never seen before.